Hi, this is Physics Unit 1, May 2018. Number 1. Physical quantities are either scalar or vector. Select the row of the table which correctly identifies a scalar quantity and a vector quantity. So, a scalar quantity is a quantity which has only a magnitude but does not have any direction. For example, time. Time has a value of 1, 2, 3, or 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 50 seconds, 60 seconds, which is a minute, and 3600 seconds, which is an hour, and so on. So this is a scalar quantity which does not have any direction, and vector quantity is something that has a direction. For example, we can say that an object is moving at 5 meter per second, which is a magnitude, and we can also say that an object is moving at 5 meter per second due north or due south or 30 degrees due east or something like that. So a velocity is something that has a magnitude and direction, and a scalar quantity is that has a magnitude but no direction. So let's see, we have power, work done, velocity, and weight. So power is actually energy by time. Energy is a scalar quantity because it only has magnitude, so it is a scalar quantity. Time is also a scalar quantity, so power is a scalar quantity. So if we write scalar and vector here, so under scalar we can write power, and we have work done. So work done is equals to force into distance in a direction. Force is a vector quantity and direction is also a vector quantity, and we should also know that vector into vector would be scalar. So work done is a scalar quantity, so work is also a scalar quantity. Velocity, as I said, is a vector quantity. And weight, we have W equals to mg. M is a scalar quantity since it has only a magnitude but no direction, but gravity has a direction, so it's a vector quantity since the gravity is towards an object, towards a mass. The gravity of the earth, the gravitational pull of the earth is towards the center of the earth, which has a direction, so it is a vector quantity. So weight is a vector quantity. So velocity and weight is a vector quantity, work and power is a scalar quantity. So power is a scalar quantity, work done is also a scalar quantity, velocity is a scalar quantity, power is a no vector velocity is a vector quantity, power is a scalar quantity, weight is a vector quantity, velocity is a vector quantity, work done is a scalar quantity, weight is a vector quantity. So the answer to this question is D. Number 2. The unit for the viscosity of a fluid may be expressed as Pascal second. Which of the following expresses Pascal seconds in SI base units? So Pascal is basically the unit for pressure, and pressure is equals to force by area. So it is force by area into time, which is in seconds. So force, we can write F equals to ma. So we have mass into acceleration divided by area into time, which is this. So the mass is in kg and area is in meter per second square, and the area is in meter square, and the time is in seconds. So we will have kg meter second divided by second square meter square, which is kg by second meter. So the answer to this question is C. Number 3. A material undergoes significant plastic deformation under compression. So a plastic deformation is a deformation in which when a material is deformed, it does not go to the original shape or length. So for example, if I stretch 5 centimeter string to 10 centimeter string, when I release it, it might return to 6 or 7 centimeter, not 5. So this is called a plastic deformation. And elastic deformation is a deformation in which if I stretch the 5 meter string to 10 centimeter string, it will then return to the 5 centimeter. So this is an elastic deformation. Which of the following describes this material? A. Brittle. So brittle is a property which gives it to break easily or does not have enough deformation upon force. So it is not A. B is ductile. So ductile is a material in which a material can be drawn out into wires. For example, if we stretch a metal holding the ends of the material, it will just, if we pull it from the both sides, apply forces on opposite ends, it will stretch out, and this is called a tensile force. So it is not B because it will have a plastic deformation, but it is under tensile force. Part C is the same as ductile, but it is a compression force, so the answer is C. So malleable is basically something upon which we can put a pressure. For example, compression is which we can compress a metal into thin sheets. So for part C it is correct, since it has a plastic deformation under compression. And it is not D because it is about the energy required to fracture. So it is not about the plastic deformation. It may be under compression, but it is not about the plastic deformation. So the answer to this question is C. Number 4. The manufacturer of a car claims that the car can accelerate from rest to 30 meter per second in 7.5 seconds. What is the average acceleration of the car over the time period? So we have those equations of SUVAT, so SUVAT, where S is the displacement, U is the initial velocity, V is the final velocity, A is acceleration, and T is time. So we do not have this S, we have U, we have V. So U is 0 meter per second because it says that it is at rest, so 0, and to 30 meter per second, final velocity is 30. We have to calculate the acceleration, and the time is 7.5. So an equation relating to this is V equals to U plus 80. So 30 equals to 0 plus A into 7.5. So A would be equals to 30 by 7.5, which is approximately 4 meter per second squared. So the answer to this question is C. Number 5. Three spheres P, Q and R of the same mass. It says that it has the same mass. So in spite of the different volumes, it has the same mass. So same weight, since W equals to mass into gravity. So the same mass are lifted from the ground and suspended from a rigid support as shown. The greatest change in gravitational potential energy is seen in spheres. So the GPE, the gravitational potential energy, GPE equals to mg del h. So the del GPE equals to mg del h. So let us, these masses are the same, since it says here that they are of the same mass. So we just have to calculate the del h. So the del h, basically we have to calculate from the surface, not from the center. Some students will calculate it from the center to the ground, but no, these will be calculated from the bottom of the spheres. So these two have the same heights, and this R has a lower height. If it's h, this may be 2h and 2h. So these two have a higher change in height, so a higher change in gravitational potential energy. So the answer to this question is P and Q. So the answer is B. Number 6. The graph shows how extension X of a spring varies with applied force F. So normally the graph looks like this, where the force is here and the extension is here. So the graph looks like this, and the work done is basically the area under the graph here, like this area is the work done. So a change is in the axis. For example, this is extension and this is force, so these two don't match. So actually the work done in the graph is given by this area here. This is the work done. Work done is typically the area under the graph, but here the axes are just the opposite, and half fx is actually from this point to this point, this area under the graph. So this is the half fx. So the half fx is actually, so this area is equals to this area. So we can clearly see that this area is smaller than this arc. So the work done is greater than half fx, since this area is greater than the triangle here. This is half fx and this whole area is the work done. So the answer to this question is D. Number 7. A displacement time graph for the motion of an object is shown. So this is displacement and this is time. So displacement is basically the shortest distance from a point. So the displacement is increasing, so the distance from a particular point is increasing at this rate. So it is increasing at a decreasing rate. Which of the following statement is correct? So since it is decreasing, it means that the distance from the object is increasing, but the rate at which it is increasing is decreasing. So the graph is increasing at a decreasing rate. The rate is decreasing, so the gradient is actually decreasing for this graph. So A says that there is a decreasing resultant force acting on the object in the direction of motion. In the direction of motion, there is a resultant force in the direction of motion. So this gradient, the gradient of this graph gives velocity, right? So since the gradient is decreasing, the velocity should be decreasing, and since the velocity is decreasing, there should be a resultant force in the opposite direction to the motion, not in the direction of motion, since a force in the opposite direction of motion would cause a deceleration, and a force in the direction of motion would cause an acceleration. So this is clearly decelerating, since the gradient of this graph is decreasing, there is deceleration. So A is not correct, since there is a force in the opposite direction. So A is not correct. B says that there is an increasing resultant force. So here is decreasing and there is increasing acting on the object in the direction of motion. This is also not correct. C says that there is a resultant force acting on the object opposite to the direction of motion. Yes, this is the correct answer. And option D, there is no resultant force acting on the object. So if it was option D, it would go at a straight line, or it would be something like this, or this, or this, something like that. Since there is a no resultant force, since F equals to ma, since there is a no resultant force, force is 0. If the resultant force is 0, the acceleration should be 0. If the acceleration is 0, there is no change in velocity, and if there is no change in velocity, the gradient would not be changing. So from this logic, option D is also not correct. So the option C is the correct answer. Number 8. A box is placed on a table. The box and table are both stationary. So this is the box and this is the table. So the diagram shows the direction of forces acting on the ball and on the table. So on the box we have weight downwards, and we have force of box on the table upwards, which is a reaction force. And from the table, and this was for the box and this is for the table. So for the table, there is the weight of the table downwards, and there is the force of box on table. So this force this box is applying a force on the table downwards, and there is a force of floor on table N. So this force is this one, force of floor on table. So this is the force on table. So question 8 says which pair of forces are equal in magnitude according to Newton's first law. So the Newton's first law states that an object stays at rest or moves at constant velocity until or unless an external force acts on it. So the question says that the box and the table are both stationary. So in a stationary situation there is no resultant force. So if there is no resultant force, the total force sum would be 0. So the weight of box plus force on table would be equal to 0 since they are in the opposite direction, and the lengths are the same. So this and this are equal, NB and WB. So NB and WB are equal. So the answer to this question is 8 is C. Number 9. Which pair of forces are equal in magnitude according to Newton's third law? So the Newton's third law states that when object A exerts a force on object B, the object B exerts an equal and opposite force on object A. And in simple terms, it says that every action has equal and opposite reaction. So the force that is exerted from the box on the table is equal and opposite to the force exerted by the table on the box. So force on table on box is this one, and there should be another force of box on table, which is this force. So as we can see that this force is downwards and this force is upwards, and the lengths are also same, but the directions are different. So they are equal and opposite, and object A is, for example, table. So object A on B same is object B on A. So the answer to this question is NB and FT. So NB and FT. So the answer to this question is A. Number 10. A student investigated Hooke's law using the equipment shown. As each additional load was added, the new position of a marker along a meter rule was recorded and the extension calculated. Fixed bar load marker. So this is the fixed bar, this is the load, and the marker is placed on the meter rule, and the investigation was repeated with an additional identical spring arranged as shown. So this is an identical spring, both springs are there. For a given applied load, which of the following statement is correct? So we have F force equals to K into X, right? So this is the Hooke's constant or spring constant. So this is the spring constant, and this they are saying that for a fixed load, for a given applied load, so since the load is constant, the force is constant, and since two identical springs are placed, this means that the force exerted per unit extension has been greater, since it has been doubled, since these are now two springs that are handling one load. So K is increasing. Since the K is increasing, the extension will be decreasing. So if the value of K increases 2 times, the value of extension will decrease by 2 times. So the extension will be halved and the spring constant will be doubled. So the answer to this question is C. If this video helped you, please consider subscribing or liking to support future videos. Thank you for watching, guys.